In a world full of such uncertainty and upheaval, you can always count on Jon Jones to restore some form of natural order. Breaking news: Jon Jones has yet again been arrested for a DWI offence. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to make a point of pointing out that this might be the first and last time that I'll be able to use the phrase breaking news in one of my videos. I'm practicing social distancing and self-isolation because it's coronavirus, so it's the coronavirus I have to thank for giving me the ability to make this video quite quickly after the news broke, because I'm working from home and I've got fuck all else to do. But yeah, so Jon Jones was arrested late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning for a DWI offence. I'm just going to go over kind of bullet points and overview of what happened. I'm not going to read an article. It's all over MMA media. It's all over MMA Twitter. So any MMA site you can go to and the story will be there. But when it comes to just what happened last night, I was just going to give you a little overview. So apparently around 1 a.m. someone reported that they could hear gunshots. So the police responded to that report and they found Jon Jones in a vehicle. They asked Jon Jones if he'd been driving. He said yes. They asked him if he intended to drive his car again that night. He said yes. They felt that he was intoxicated. They'd done a sobriety test and they found that he was over the limit. So they arrested him. Once they arrested him, they searched the car and they found a bottle of alcohol and a gun. Jon Jones doing Jon Jones shit. Now, before I talk about Jon Jones, I just want to ask a couple of questions to my American listeners. Firstly, what are the laws when it comes to drink driving in the States? Because for one man to break those laws so many times, what does he need to do for his license to be revoked? Because over here in England, you get caught drunk driving once, that's it, you lose your license for a year or two or something like that. You do it again, I think you go to prison. Do you know what I mean? Like the law just seems so relaxed in America. I don't know whether it's like a law that changes from state to state, or whether it's a nationwide law that is, you know, in place wherever you are in America. But how is Jon Jones still driving? How has he still got a driver's license? It baffles me, honestly. The second thing I want to ask is, like, is this social distancing and self-isolation thing like a big thing in the States? Because it is over here in the UK. You're allowed out once a day for a bit of exercise, and you're allowed out to go and get groceries from a grocery store, and that's about it. Like, you can go to the supermarket and you can go for a walk or a run or whatever, and then you're not allowed out, and there's fines if you're caught out and about and whatnot. And I know, you know, a fine is probably nothing to someone with Jon Jones who's amassed the amount of wealth he probably has. But I don't know. I just wondered what the rules are in the States at the moment. Really, I suppose that's, you know, just a separate kind of thing that I just wanted to know for my own information. But going back to Jon Jones, yeah, it's just Jon Jones doing Jon Jones shit. He's almost like a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time until this happens again. I don't know what's going on in his life. I don't know whether there is an issue in his life that's making him behave in this manner, or whether he just has this air of invincibility around him and he genuinely doesn't give a fuck because he's done it so many times and he's just got away scot-free with no punishment. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you do something and the repercussions are something that you can easily just manage by paying a fee or whatever, then it doesn't really kind of matter so much to you. Like, the punishment for me every time Jon Jones does something like this is nowhere near the level of the actions that he's done. If that it doesn't match, they don't correlate with each other in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, how many times is he gonna fuck up? How many times is he gonna be given another chance? Honestly, like, I can't. It's getting a bit boring now. I kind of pity him a little bit now, you know. I just don't get it. I just don't understand, like, what it is that is making him do and behave in this way at this big age. Like, I could kind of understand, like, when he was in his early 20s and he crashed that Bentley, like, that was just a immature kind of incident. But then when it keeps happening over and over and over again, it's not a level of immaturity. It's not an accident or an incident. It's a pattern. It's just how he is, how he behaves. And this really needs to be looked at, because when he's wheeled out in front of us and in front of the MMA media, the week before a fight, doing all of his media kind of conversations, etc., interviews and whatnot, and when he kind of post-fight, when he invariably wins, and he has his post-fight interviews and press conferences, every time within about 30 seconds to a minute, he brings up God and how grateful he is for having God in his life. And for someone like me, it makes me very skeptical about how genuine he is when he's talking about his higher power, when he's going around behaving like this behind closed doors. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for 10% of the time when we actually get to see him in kind of media engagements, he's all kind of talking about how he believes in God and blah blah blah. But then the 90% of the time that we don't get to see, these kind of stories come out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know when he spoke to Ariel Helwani in that sit-down interview, he said he can't guarantee that something like this won't happen again, and he wasn't lying, because he couldn't guarantee it in the end, because it has happened. But I just don't I know we're all human and we have flaws, and you could be a religious person, but you can make mistakes, etc. But these mistakes are entirely avoidable. You can avoid getting drunk and then getting behind a wheel and driving a car. You can avoid it. Looking at a more kind of darker side of this and just speculating, a man sitting in a car with a loaded weapon and someone reports that they hear gunshots. Like, I don't want to say it out loud, but I'm going to say it out loud. Like, what is he, like, if it is him shooting this gun, what is he shooting at? Why is he shooting? What kind of mind state is he in, drunk behind a wheel with a loaded weapon in the car with him? Where is he mentally? Is he close to the edge? Could that gun could it have been is he close to being in a position where he in an alternate universe, he could have been sat in that car with that gun, and that gun could have been pointed towards himself, and he could have pulled that trigger? Like, I don't know, that might be a bit extreme, like, but like, there's certain people in combat sports that the person you see in front of the camera in interviews is you get the feeling that that's the same person behind the scenes. Nate Diaz is an example. Even kind of middle of the road kind of people that aren't really very polarizing, like, I don't know, Wonderboy Thompson, Masvidal, who is polarizing, but these are just characters or fighters that I'm naming, that I get the impression that this is how this man is if the camera's in front of his face, or if it's not. And Jon Jones falls in the Kobe Covington group for me, because the man I see when he's being interviewed, I never feel like he's being genuine. I never feel like this is the man that lives his life day to day. This is a show he's putting on. This is a character he's playing. And like, Jon Jones has been managed by Malky Kawa for his whole entire UFC run, and every time Jon Jones gets involved in a situation like this, or whether it's him failing a drugs test, Malky Kawa always has his back. When Malky Kawa has always been vocal, coming on the Hell One show, sticking up for Jon Jones, etc. Now it's time for Malky Kawa to sit down with Jon Jones and really fucking get to the bottom of this, and get Jon Jones the help that he needs, because like it just doesn't make sense. A man that has the world in the palm of his hand, like, he's a man that can go on to be recognized as the best ever to do it, the best to do it ever. Like, he could be the greatest of all time, but he just can't get out of his own way. He just can't get out of his own way, and it's sad, because like, I kind of feel sorry for him. I pity him a little bit at this point, because like, clearly, like I've said this a million times during this video, clearly there's something wrong. Clearly something isn't connecting, and clearly he needs help. Like, you've got this, like, if you want to go out and have a drink, just get a cab. Like, why do you need to drive? I don't know. Like, I don't know whether it's a cultural thing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, of all places. Like, this isn't a place full of celebrities. Do you know what I mean? Like, he lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like, he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Everyone probably in that place knows who this man is. He's probably the biggest celebrity that place has. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. Like, he's the most recognizable face in that town, and yet he can't get it through his head that if I'm gonna have a drink, let me just call a cab. Let me not drive. I don't know, man. Looking at this article on MMA fighting, one thing that I read, and I can't remember where I saw it now, but basically they were saying that they retrieved the gun and they're going to match the bullets from the gun or something with the gunshots that were heard, or no, sorry, let me rephrase that. They're going to match the gun with evidence that they might have pre-existing to see if that gun's been used in crimes, etc. I don't know if Jon Jones has got a gun license. I assume he has, and I assume that will come back clean. But if that gun isn't one that he should be a licensed owner of, or do you know what I mean? Like, if he's got that gun from a place where he shouldn't have got that gun, which I wouldn't put past Jon Jones given how many times he's been arrested for stupid shit. This could turn into a very ugly, ugly situation. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. But part of me kind of wishes that Jon Jones actually gets a punishment that is enough for him to actually learn from, because all of the punishments he's got up until now have just kind of it's been next to nothing for someone of his stature and someone with his resources. The punishments that he's had up until now, they've done nothing to deter him from doing it again. I'm not saying I want him to go to prison or whatever, but I don't know, man. He needs to change his ways. Yeah, share your thoughts, put your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about this latest event in the saga that is Jon Jones's career. Please feel free to like this video, share it if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I dropped my second podcast last night, so if you look in the description, you'll see all of the different outlets that stream podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Google, all of that stuff. So yeah, click on whichever one applies to you. Have a listen to my podcast, subscribe to it, etc. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one.